You think you know a place when you live there, don't you? But every now and again someone pops up and says, "Did you know?" and tells you something fascinating. And up pops the Leo that is Gillian Hovell. Hovell? Hovell, Gillian.
Oh, Hovell, it doesn't matter really.
How do you say
Posh I'm feeling. Hovell?
Hovell, fabulous.
Like the shape.
OK, my darling. How would you describe yourself, Gillian?
Myself, I describe myself as a muddy archaeologist.
Really?
Yes, usually pretty muddy, yes.
OK. You studied Latin and ancient history at uni, so you're obviously terribly posh.
Oh, I don't know about that. But did you know that Draco is a dragon?
No, is it?
Yep.
Is it Latin for dragon?
It is Latin for dragon, yes.
Oh, OK. Yeah. Now, I've got this map of the night sky, you see. So what's Valpecula, then?
Ah, yes, well, shall we move on from
OK, darling. And I've seen Pluto, actually, and Pluto's moving direct today because it's been going backwards for ages, so that's going to cause interesting things.
So.
Just thought I'd tell you that. Yeah. So, you see, I always tend to think if somebody studied Latin, they're posh.
Oh, not at all, not anymore.
All right, why did you become an archaeologist, then?
Well, I moved up to Yorkshire, which isn't quite as far north as you are, but moved up there from, dare I say it, the south, and there was an evening class, and it said local archaeology, and with all my history, I thought, I'll do something a bit different. I'll get hands-on to the archaeology, to the history, and that was 6 years ago, and I've never really let go.
But I mean, previous to that, you worked at the BBC, hadn't you?
I did, yes.
And
yes,
doing...
my youth. I was a production secretary. So I moved around and stuck my nose in lots of different areas, children's TV, current affairs, you name it, I was there.
And what's your... I don't know whether I can ask you this, but can you turn yourself up a bit?
Not sure about that.
Or whether there's somebody there that can actually do it, or maybe not. Okay.
No.
Okay, not to worry.
Shall I shout at you?
No, that's a little better. So what children's TV programmes did you work on?
Well, I was in the general office, really, so it was sitting in the background of Blue Peter and all of that. Yes. Oh, it's great fun. You run along to the studio and watch and hope that there's an elephant there or something that you remember from your childhood. Yeah. Okay.
So you made the leap to archaeology because you're interested in stuff and down-to-earth things, I'm guessing.
Well, yes, it's history, which tells us all about who we are now, really.
And I think you started writing.
I did, yes.
Yeah, along with your passion. You like squelching about in mud, is that right?
Oh, being in the outdoors, yes, and getting your hands dirty and rummaging around and going, oh, look, there's something under that bit of turf.
Oh.
Yeah, and all that sort of stuff.
And that's fun because...
you're out of the fresh air, you're with good friends,
right.
It's fun, you're discovering things, it's, if you like detective stories, it's that kind of thing.
OK. We're talking what you can find under the mud with Gillian Hovell. I'm going to call you Hovell.
That's posh.
Because you're a Leo. Yeah. Let's call it a one. BBC Newcastle, radio for the North East. I'm Jonathan Miles. We're doing about digging around to find interesting things and places. And Gillian Hovell is author and fan of digging in mud. Now, Gillian, I mean, as say you worked at the BBC, you're a bit of an archaeologist, and you started writing, you've put the two together, you've written a book. What's the book about?
The book's called Visiting the Past, and it's a guide to finding and understanding Britain's archaeology, which doesn't just mean the big stuff, it means your little stuff that's at the end of the road, the little humps and bumps and things that you fall over and think, oh, that shouldn't be there, that's not natural. And often it's just a piece of history.
But, I mean, I couldn't go to the end of my road and start digging up the road, could I?
Oh, gosh, no, you can't go digging it, because if you start digging around, you'll destroy it. The moment you start making holes in it, you've destroyed the context of it, what it is, and nobody will ever know what was going on, really. Right. So, but you can do an awful lot without digging. You can rummage around and look around without actually taking any turf off whatsoever.
Really?
Oh, yeah, there's all sorts of stuff. And the book actually shows you what you can see. You know, when you go for a walk and there's perhaps a door and some upstanding stones, or there'll be something else. This will help you to know what you're looking at, really. OK, now, give us some examples in the North East. I mean, I don't know what you've mentioned in the book. I think Hadrian's Wall, obviously. Oh, it's biggie, yeah. Hadrian's Wall and Vindolanda especially. And the book will show you what you're to look for when you're at Vindolanda.
I don't know, what's Vindolanda? Because I'm 2 years new to the North East.
Right. It's one of the best sites you can go to. It's a Roman fort. It's not quite on the wall, on the Hadrian's Wall. It's just a little mile or so south of it. But it's a fort and it's got its own settlement area outside, and actually it's where I first realised what archaeology was when I was very, very young. I stood there when someone's dug this all out of the ground, and it dawned on me. So, yeah, it's a favourite spot of mine.
Okay. I mean, can you go and dig around at at Hadrian's Wall?
You can actually go to Vindolanda.
Right.
I guess every summer they have digs and you can apply to dig. So if you want to dig, don't go digging the feature that's at the end of your road that you think looks a bit suspicious. Go to a heritage group and get them to join you to look at it. Yeah, Vindolanda you can join in, you can apply.
What about housesteads or Carabra? Oh, I was trying to sound so knowledgeable. What about housesteads? Now, obviously, you see, this is a subject I know nothing about. So you and Jane have spoken, and Jane has written me some notes, and of course I don't know. Housesteads, Carabra's Mithraeum.
Yeah, that's well said.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's very good. Yes, Housesteads is a Roman fort that's right on the edge of the crag. It's superb. You know, there's a sort of classic picture of Hadrian's Wall where you're looking back and it goes over and up and down the crags. That's from near there. And the Mithraeum, as you so well said, yeah, well done, is a temple to a rather dodgy god called Mithras.
And what about Gillian Hovell? What about Arbea?
Arbea. Over in you are, yes. Somebody's feeding you good.
I kid.
Yeah, South Shields. Yeah, go and see some Roman stuff there. It's the proper dig. There's all sorts of activities you can do. There's so much around, and in the northeast, you're just stuffed full of Roman.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, there's Jarrow and there's Bede's World. And
yeah, that's a bit later. It's all Dark Ages, but yeah, the dark weren't dark. They were sitting there making illuminated manuscripts, sitting in their monasteries when the Vikings didn't thump them. So, yeah.
And, I mean, so you tell people who walk or drive past these places and never go in thinking it's not for me, go in and have a look.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, go in and find out. And this book, it has no jargon in it. It's easy to understand. It's user-friendly. It presumes that you know nothing. So you can pick it up and go, oh, yeah, and just like the notes that Jane gave you.
Yeah, exactly. Jane's saying to me, do you want to go and see a Roman fort? I'll take your nah.
You ought to.
Yeah, can it have a roof on? I don't want to get wet, because I went to that place, the Holy Island thing, and I went, that's dull.
Yeah, well, I went when it was thick fog, but it's still exciting. Still atmospheric.
I thought it was far more interesting on the causeway, actually. It's really, when the tide's out and it's a little bit misty, it's really scary, actually.
Well, this is the fun stuff, actually. When you go out looking for rough archaeology that's out in the fields, it's not big sites. There's quite a few that are in causeways, and you just look on an OS map and it'll say fort or remains, and go and put your boots on and scramble over it.
And I think it's probably a good way of educating, especially people under 18, really, isn't it? To be more curious about things.
Oh, yes, because, I mean, they're walking along and going, do we have to go for a walk? Yeah. And there's not just the nature and the geology and everything else. You could suddenly say, oh, that bit there has been there for 500 years. It's even older than I am. Right. And somebody was doing something here. Right. Yeah.
And the book is called?
It's called Visiting the Past.
And Digging Around in Mud is Gillian's want. It's out now, I guess, in paperback and hardback.
It's out in paperback.
Excellent.
Yes.
Gillian, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good weekend.
And you.